Back in March, when it was still very cold, we visited Sam Jones in Edinburgh at the wonderful and charismatic Leith Theatre. We heard about how he started off in the industry and some of his very creative and innovative work for Hidden Door Festival, plus lockdown projects including Live at Leith. How do you know this location?
I know this from working on Hidden Door, originally working on Hidden Door Festival, which is a multi-arts festival in Edinburgh. That we came here in 2016 and we stayed here for 2 years doing the festival.
That was in and around the theatre?
Yeah, so that was inside the theatre as well as using the courtyard outside and the roof as well. So we had lots of theatre on the stage as well as art installations all around the building and on the outside. I've been coming in and doing various projects with EIF and different other organisations around the theatre, being a part of the journey of the theatre growing and getting more power, let's say, on the stage and more infrastructure around the building.
It's an absolutely beautiful building. What's it like as a place to work?
It's amazing. It's a great atmosphere in here when you're working, doing a gig. It's great to be a part of a project which has come from being a real wreck and a ruin, and we had dead pigeons and rigging that was coming out of the roof, and yeah, it was great. It's great being a part of it. I love the space, I love the venue. I think the people that are here as well, they're fully behind it. The public, the Leith public, are fully behind everything as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for it in the community, isn't there?
Yeah.
What sparked your interest in lighting?
When I was 11 or 12, I built a strobe light with a Meccano motor and a lamp and a cardboard box, and ever since then I've put it on parties in the garage in the estate that I was living in at the time, and then ever since then it kind of went from there. I've always been pretty visual, very kind of visual creative brain, so yeah, kind of a little bit unstoppable in some ways. Can't switch off.
And I believe you went to college, is that right?
I went to Telford College in Edinburgh and did technical theatre, a good overview of all the different practices within the industry, and specialised in lighting. From then I started working when I was 17 in a nightclub in Edinburgh called The Venue. So I worked in another couple of venues afterwards, that closed down, and then I worked in a venue called the Corn Exchange for a while and freelanced for a while around locally. After that I joined a company called Blue Parrot, who are based in Edinburgh. I was there for 6 years full-time and ended up being a project manager there. After that I left there and went freelance again, and that's where I am now.
Very recently you were involved in Live at Leith, which is a live stream or a pay-per-view stream that's recorded here on this very stage. Can you tell me about how you got involved in that specific project?
So I had my relationship with Leith Theatre anyway, and I came in here looking to do a music video at the end of last year with a band I work with called the Half-Formed Things. They were saying at the time when I came in that they wanted to put together a live stream, or they were thinking about doing some sort of live stream with the venue to kickstart the venue's profile a bit more and just do something with it, because sitting here doing nothing. So we put the head together, we kind of got it kick-started, got the project sort of kick-started through that, involved other production companies, and really got the ball rolling from there.
And in terms of the lighting that you designed for Live in Leith, what was your creative starting point for that?
The creative starting point was really from based around the Ninth Wave, their music, their style. They're visually quite interesting and quite engaging. They're very stark, and they really don't need any lighting to look amazing on stage. But it all started from their style and their music, and I think they a really strong backlight presence, lots of silhouettes, kind of thing.
Was it strange at all being back at virtually as a gig after such a long break due to the pandemic?
Yeah, I think I was lucky enough to do a few projects last year, which were everything from like live streams to music videos to weirder, wonderfuler things outside, and a few creative projects of my own as well. So they're always, they're always strange. I think the biggest thing is the lack of audience, the lack of energy that you get in the room working on these things. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I miss the most.
Have you found time at all to do some of those creative things that they've always been on the bucket list or the do list, but you've never quite got down to them?
Yeah, and I think everyone's been in the same boat, whether you've got your hard drives to sort out or your long list of life admin things. So yeah, I think, yeah, I managed to do that. Managed to do a lot of, at first anyway, a lot of sitting around and enjoying some time off that normally we don't get in this industry as well.
Indeed. What do you most love about your work?
I love the variance in all the projects. No project is the same, whatever you're doing, whether you're designing it or teching or whatever you're doing on any project. I love every day is different. I'm a visually creative person, and anything to do with that is what I love.
So you've got ideas ticking all the time? Yeah,
all the time, whether I go for a run or just listening to a piece of music, or even anything, sitting on the toilet. Always ticking away.
Always the best place. The greatest inspiration comes from there, I'm sure. Yeah. Do you have a memorable moment at all from your career so far?
I think there's a lot. I think anyone that works in this industry for any amount of time will have a lot. Some of the earlier memories were pretty amazing. Being so young and being thrown into the industry was quite especially the live music industry, when some of the bands that you're coming across were quite you're getting rabbit in the headlights. I remember doing Dead Mouse when I worked in a nightclub called Ego, which is at the top of Leith Walk in Edinburgh. It was very strange. Operating the lighting next to him on stage was funny in itself, but just, yeah, with all these controllers and everything around, it was great. It was great. It was kind of like we were kind of teaming up, doing a thing together. I tried on this hat and it was very sweaty inside. It was great. And he said he'd not done a gig with, on that tour he hadn't done many gigs where he had to take the helmet off because it was so sweaty. So yeah, thankfully I tried it on before the end of the gig.
Can you actually see anything through the helmet?
You can see a bit. I wouldn't want to do a whole set with it on, that's for sure. And I think this was earlier on, so I think this was before his, just before he did his first album, or dropped his first album, so it was quite early on in his career. So I think the helmet was quite, probably a lot more advanced now. It had some lights on it, but I don't think there was any video panels or anything on it.
Is there a place, a space that you'd like to light, or a show, an event, something that you like dream about doing?
I think anywhere in the world, traveling around the world and seeing spaces. I love abandoned spaces. I love weird and wonderful spaces, not necessarily your theatres or your venues.
More sort of site specific.
Yeah, I love site specific stuff. I love site specific. It's just anything that's more creative. Bands I'd love to work with, Niels Fram or the Brian Jonestown Massacre. They're big. Anything that I'm really passionate. I love music. I'm really passionate with music.
What are your hopes for 2021?
Doing shows with audiences. Miss the audience. They provide so much energy when you're front of house. Even when you're teching on a show, just standing back, watching your work, whatever capacity you put into that show or worked on that show, I think the audience provides so much energy, and when they're not there, you can really feel it. So, yeah, shows with audience. Bring back the shows.